Morning, everyone. Glad to see some familiar faces. We haven't seen back from Finland back in February before all this mess started. So, since I think the agenda is full of things, we should get ready. I'm sharing my screen. Please tell me if you can see the PowerPoint slides.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get going. So life was easy and nice back in February until something happened. No? Something happened that changed everything, and it had an impact on all of us. And I university and the IT department was not an exception. So everything changed, and we needed to respond and to react. So our priorities changed dramatically, and we had to do a number of things. We started by adapting all our classrooms or our classroom technology to the new scenario. So we had two different scenarios. One in which was quite demanding, in which a number of students were attending sessions face to face on campus, but a proportion of them was attending online to that same session. So we had, in a way, to broadcast what was going on in the classroom online to essentially to all over the world, because we have students and a big proportion of international students attending from anywhere. So we needed to start deploying technology real fast, and started by adding additional displays. So you can see in the picture we had like an additional displays to show the students attending remotely. We complemented this with additional screens at the back and in the sides of the classrooms, depending on the type of classrooms. We also were adding webcams, high quality 4K webcams, and very critical, we also needed to broadcast the sound, what was going on in the classroom, not only professors, but also the ambience, what was actually going on in class. This was particularly challenging to broadcast the sound. So we had to install ceiling hanging microphones from beyond, and we had to do this real fast in more than 150 classrooms. So this was the first challenge we needed to react. But also we needed to ensure that the staff, all the staff, should be able to work from home, and this was an extra challenge. So since we had made a decision 3 years ago to move all the staff from desktop computers to laptops, but by the time that when COVID hit back in February, about 80% of the staff had already laptops, but we had around 20% remaining. So we had to move real fast, and in a matter of weeks, we were able to give laptops to that 20% remaining without laptops. So by mid-February, March, all the 100% of the staff were able to work in remote. And then we discovered things like Teams, which was an application nobody almost knew about, and in a matter of weeks, it became the third most used applications within IE staff. So quite remarkable change in a matter of weeks. Also, this new scenario is putting lots of stress on communications, not during the lockdown, but right after lockdown, since when students were to come back to campus, their usage of communications was expected to be heavier in terms of bandwidth consumption due to the extended usage of video conferencing tools. So that was going to be putting stress on communication lines and also on the Wi-Fi network. So we had to get ready for that. So in March and April, we had to work a lot in deploying additional Wi-Fi antennas, etc., and starting to monitor how students were coming back to campus. So as you can see in the picture below, so this is monitoring the active Wi-Fi connections day by day. We reopened campus at the end of June when the lockdown in Spain finished. So we had like almost a peak of 500 active students during June, July, and early August, and all the connections resumed and ramped up starting late August, almost to 4 times higher that we had what we had back in July. Still not the normal usage that we had prior to the pandemic, but still, as I mentioned, less users but more intensive use. So it was another challenge that we needed to react. And since technology has been all around in the response to this pandemic, so the number of service requests and travel tickets grew as expected. So we needed to revisit and the IT support model. So we had to increase the number of resources in the call center, extend the support time from the 8 to 24/7. So since we had all sorts of problems of students and faculty using new things for them as video conferencing, web conference was one of the hot topics. And as you can see, in March and April, we had a significant peak that we needed to attend as we did. So a big change in the support model. But we should not forget that at the end of the day, this was a health issue. So in order to protect the community, so not only students, but also faculty and staff, we needed to monitor the health situation of each individual. In order to do that, we developed back in May, and still are working on it, an app called COVID-19 Tracer, which it's doing exactly that, tracing the health situation of every single member of the community to make sure that in order for them to be able to enter to campus, they needed to to report their health situations on a daily basis, even if the testing that they have undertake is positive or negative, and based on all that information, and this semaphore color is issued, granting or not access to campus, just in order to to protect the community. So if you cannot access campus, you are obliged to follow the sessions online. This came with a number of dashboards which allow the program directors to monitor the specific situation, not global numbers, but also specific numbers pertaining to those specific programs, to be able to support one by one each and every student according to their specific necessities. So we were on top of every single student to make sure that they had the full support from IE. Regarding COVID, we had also to develop this what we call the contact finder. So we had a number of positive cases. In order to spot potential contacts of those positive cases, we needed to to cross all the information for the planned face-to-face sessions in which that student or faculty who had been tested positive, the potential contacts, in order to communicate to the affected people of the situation to take the appropriate measures. So technology again to the rescue, to make that scalable for the full community of IE students, faculty, and staff. We also had to prepare a community compact, which it's a kind of a manifesto by which all the members of the community pledge to comply with the iUniversity health protocol, and this was mandatory. So if some students decide not to sign this pledge, they simply could not enter onto campus. And again, we developed a dashboard to monitor how many of those students were signing that pledge to take the appropriate action where needed. But this was not only technology. All the program structures need to be revisited and modified. So it's not simply translating the same structure of programs to the online scenario as most of you know, we had to adjust a number of things. So there was a team devoted to this liquid learning, as we named it internally at IE, and deciding which kind of changes needed to be applied to the programs. One of them was splitting sections into a reduced number. This is to comply with social distancing measures coming from the health authorities. This had also a technology consequence in terms of automatically doing those splits in the planning. And also we created some new types of sessions where they were called non-class learning, adding to the traditional face-to-face or a video conference or even the discussion forum sessions. This non-class learning gave room to other types of sessions in which attending synchronously was not a need. Intensive let's say reshaping of all the programs with again consequences in the systems, giving support to all the academic operations. And then our WOW room, which is our proprietary video conferencing solution, in which we've been working in how to adapt WOW room to the new scenarios that are coming. The one in which both professors and students are at home, or at least they are not in campus. So we have been deploying specific templates, placing the different components in different scenarios and layouts to optimize the usage in those scenarios. So both professor and students at home, and the liquid or hybrid classroom templating that we've been talking about a minute ago. But a number of additional things have been done in order to respond to COVID-19. We made the IT team to be quite busy in the last 9 months already. So we deployed thermographic cameras in all the campus entrances. We have also these real-time occupancy sensors, so we are able to detect in each and every space in campus how many people is inside its space. If that number is above or below the maximum capacity, issuing alarms to the appropriate people. We can even monitor where people is sitting, so checking if the social distancing is being respected or not. I mean, with the size of our campus, this is impossible of achieving this without some kind of technology aid. In this case, these occupancy sensors. Attendance monitoring. This is something that is also a hot topic right now, since the situation have changed a lot. So for faculty, it's quite stressful to monitor attendance when you have, like, let's say, half of the people face to face, but another half on the screen attending via Zoom, for instance, in which some of them have their screen, their video on, or they're probably having problems. So it's almost impossible to track attendance. And again, technology had the answer. So we built another dashboard in which we are capturing all the information from the video conferencing system, from the access devices to campus, from the Wi-Fi network, and putting that together to compute, and give an estimate of attendance, so who is attending and from where. And this is aiding a lot to program management and also to faculty to monitor that attendance. So and since during confinement, it was the best time to go paperless. So since we were not having any activity on campus, we decided to get rid of about half of the printers. Not everybody was happy about this, but it's part of the trend and a corporate policy within IE. Another activity that needed to take place is we got rid of fixed telephones, which they are also a source of contagion. So we moved to soft phones, and another success one of the getting rid of these devices. Another piece of work COVID related. So the campus that we are that reopened in September looked quite different from that we had back in January. It's no secret that this confinement situation has brought some darker, let's say, consequences. So we have observed, and I'm sure this is the same situation in different institutions, a kind of a disconnection of students with respect to the university. And one that was a specific plan with a number of actions aimed at improving the student engagement with the institution. One of them that I'm highlighting here, it was accelerating an ongoing project that we had. It's called the Student App. It's an app that helps students to keep their connection with the institution. So access to a number of activities and services, and this is growing day by day. So well, here you have a number of screenshots to give you an idea of what's included there. And well, this is another thing that we just roll out during summer with quite success, and we're still working on improving that engagement of students. And this is just one of the measures among many others from other departments. So what made all this being a modest success? Well, there was a number of factors I would like to highlight. First, the early reaction. So we saw this coming back in February when Bocconi, which is a business school based in Milan that many of you might know, that was the first campus to close in Europe. And that in a way was for us, all the alarms started ringing here in Madrid when that happened. So most of the things that I've been talking about before, like the laptops distribution to all staff, and start working in acquiring webcams, which became a luxury object some weeks afterwards. All of those started in late February when we had the news from coming from Milan. Agility and flexibility, that's another key ingredient for success under this situation and the changing environment. So we had no clues of what was exactly coming at those days, if you recall, and the scenario changed on a daily basis. Since February, we had been having a crisis committee, which is still happening every day. First thing in the morning, we have a short meeting to coordinate all efforts regarding the university response to COVID-19, and that has proved to have an agile way of making decisions and a flexible approach to adopting all the changes that have been coming one after the other. Regarding the shift of staff for working regularly on campus to working from home, we had our remote work pilot going on since late 2019 that also helped us a lot to move fast to this full remote work scenario in a matter of days. So that was another ingredient for success. Together with the fact that we are 100% cloud institution, so we have no data centers. All our services, in fact, are hosted in the cloud, which helps a lot in terms of business continuity. Together that with all the applications being accessed through a web browser. Of course, our online learning track record, we've been delivering online programs for about 20 years, and that also, together with our video conferencing expertise, helped a lot in being very agile and quick to deliver solutions for the whole institutions, including students. Very important, faculty. Not only all the efforts made in faculty training, but also their attitude. We have been changing all the technology in classroom for them, and they've been quite flexible in adopting it. That sometimes faculty, it's sometimes they are kind of reluctant to change too much of what you are needed to use within a classroom, and sometimes the new classroom that we are giving them, it looks like a more like like a bunch of computers, and so it's easy to forget that you are there to deliver a class, not just to start working around with Zoom, the webcam, etc., etc. So that was something that our faculty managed quite well. It's another, probably one of the central ingredients for this success. As I mentioned before, the scalable IT support model, because at the end of the day, you need to be able to give support for all the people engaging with this new technology, new for them, which it requires support in a 24/7 manner. So I'm just about to finish. Just I want to thank, this is the team, the IT team at IE behind all this work I've been sharing with you. So I'm now open to any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carlos. It's been really interesting, and for me, as being part of IE, it's been also interesting to see what really is happening in the background, because I'm on the other side. I'm the one that is experiencing the changes, and then Carlos is the one that is really managing all these changes of all this technology, moving all the stuff online. And what's interesting, we always think about educational technology. The first thing that comes to our minds normally is how technology is changing education, so learning and teaching. But here we have a perfect example of how EdTech is not only about teaching and learning, it's so much more into it. So, well, an interesting point about getting rid of technology as well, getting rid of printers, getting rid of the phones, and transforming it from hardware to software. It's also an interesting point of view. We have one question for sure from Italo. Is it possible to have COVID tracer at other universities? Is it an application that can be scalable across Europe, or is it something specifically prepared for IE University?
Well, it has been something that we have developed internally, and it's not. I've seen briefly in the chat that someone mentioned that in China this is also working from the state. This is not the case in Spain. I don't think that even in Europe. So we had to develop our own. Is it something that we could extend to other universities? We would need to work in it, because as it has been developed right now, it's a custom development, very much embedded into our IT. It's not impossible, but it will require some kind of overhead work. It's doable, but probably it's. I think the key here is more the idea more than the implementation, since the health protocols have been changing so fast that we have. I think we had I don't know, no less than 25 different versions since May. So every other week we are launching new release with added functionalities, and still alive and kicking. Yes, but in case someone is interested, we could talk to see how we could help with that.
Well, another startup idea. So if anybody is interested to launch a new startup, contact Carlos and earn a lot of money on that.
Can I have the chance to just follow up on that? Because it would definitely the idea is that we took definitely different approaches to the coronaviruses, and I see that you have done at the IE Institute. You have really disrupted. It's more like the corona has been destructive to the fact of the technology they use, and so you really have the analogy of the breaking balls, to which have made changes. We haven't made that many changes, so I cannot say that we have done similar things to you. But the idea of since we have students both online and on campus, the idea of the things the passport and so far, it's very nice to interesting to. If it's possible to test, I would definitely like to talk to you with you later on and see what we can do just to test them. It doesn't have to be I don't even know if it's possible to implement it. So, but it's something that is interesting because we said to all our students to stay home, except the one for the first year. Those are the only one students on campus at our place. So we had definitely different approaches, but it's worth it to test everything that we can.
Let's have that conversation.
Yeah.
I would explain you in detail how did it was implemented and what I mean by, it's not really, it's not something we can do, in a matter of days to extract it and make it a standalone application. But at least I can give you the ideas, and I'm happy to share. And I encourage you to visit our web. It's called We Are Ready within IE.edu, in which all the protocols and the action that have been taken place are fully described. So that I think that's a valuable source. We have openly and transparently communicated to all the community, not only the students but also their parents, what we are doing at IE to ensure that the students are going to study in a health safe environment.
Please put the link in the other link in the chat.
I will.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Italo. And I see some more questions. With respect to cloud hosting providers, are you using a specific platform such as Azure?
In fact, we are using a number of them. We are customers of Amazon Web Services, AWS, since already 10 years ago. So we were pioneers in Spain. Azure is another of the cloud platforms we are using, and also Google Cloud. So we try to be platform agnostic in order to avoid vendor lock-in. So we are using the three main players and open to use new ones as they appear.
Mm-hmm. And have you been also measuring students' well-being? That's an interesting question. During these unsettling times, have students easily adapted to this new environment? It's a very interesting question. I would like to know the answers to this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, in fact, this has been an ongoing issue. I've concentrated too much on technology, but the fact is there's a number of students that have been struggling through these times, especially for the younger ones. And some psychological support has been provided, so in a systematic way, and so the university staff have been on top of every student to make sure they have the means to contact them to support them in any way, and there has been there's some psychological support specifically to a number of students, a non-negligible number of students demanding that. A part of the direct health support. So we have Prever Salud is our health services partner. They have been crucial in going through this process for the last 9 months already. So apart from that, which is quite obvious from a psychological standpoint, there has been a non-negligible number of people that have been struggling through the situation that had required some psychological support.
And do you know if there is any system in place that is monitoring the well-being of students, or are the students who are contacting IE they contact their program directors, and this is how they are being directed for psychological support? Do you know anything about how this works?
They had the means to contact them, but there is no specific, let's say, technology behind monitoring the specific well-being, apart from what I've just shared regarding the health protocols. This kind of information is an information we cannot access. So in fact, we do not have access to the full medical records, just to the result, which is the pass and fail. And the fail, we can know if the fail is because the test is not valid or is pending validation, just to make sure that we understand the situation and are able to help the students to let's say, to overcome any difficulties. But we cannot have access to more information due to GDPR. And that applies also for probably these well-being things could fall into that category. So that pertains more to, we kind of connect the students with the appropriate supporting teams and make sure that they have the proper dialogue, but there is no data behind that.
So it's more of a communication, and then the students react to the information and the support that they have been offered. Another question from Lucy this time. I'm interested in the ways that you had to structure teaching the non-class learning sessions. Have you found any unexpected benefits here that you may continue after the pandemic is over?
Well, I'm not sure I'm the proper person to answer to that. What I can tell is that this was kind of a reaction. I think we are exploring a terrain that nobody entered before. Having this kind of experiment with 100% of the student population almost, it's kind of an unexplored territory for all of us. What we have seen is that just moving the exact same structure we have in face-to-face to online, it doesn't work. So as Milena commented in the introduction, I mean, if we were to have the same scheme, mechanism or timetable for the assist ISP as if we were face-to-face, I mean, it's impossible to have 8 hours in a row of video conferences without going nuts. And the same thing applies to students. I mean, they are young, but still they are persons. So we needed to readapt and to make sure they try to make sessions shorter, to put some some asynchronous sessions with this non-class learning. If you wish, let the students to learn at their own pace, without having to be just concentrated in a specific online session. So this was more kind of a reaction to what we have been seeing. And again, I don't think I'm not the right person to ask accurately to this to this question, but I'm sure that probably some of my colleagues may be joining in future lectures these coming days might be more prepared to answer to this.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the answer from them would be also, we will see, because as you say, this was the reaction, and everybody around the world had to react very quickly to the situation that we are seeing right now. And it's a great social and educational experiment that we are all going through. So to see how this really have an impact, what impact it has really on the students and the teachers and on the programs later, I think probably in the next year we will be looking at which direction it will really go. Another question, I'm interested in the student engagement improvement. Are there technology to ensure and measure collaborative student studies?
Well, in fact, technology in that particular area, it's going to be key, and it's something we are right working on. It's getting access to all the data. I mean, since we are shifting all the interaction from or a big proportion of the interaction from physical to digital, one of the benefits is that all of a sudden we have data. And by bringing all that data together and starting looking for patterns, we can discover things. We are just starting, because all these things that take time. So we need first to get the data, do the cleanup, and start looking for relationships. But I think this is probably one of the main benefits of this new situation, is that with all that data, we're going to be able to make data-based decisions on what things work, what things don't work, but looking at real data and facts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be quite helpful to shape, future decisions on how to modify and restructure programs. So we see that the behavior is not the same in the different schools, in different types of programs. It's not the same in undergraduate and graduate studies. So we're starting to see big differences. For instance, in IE, our students are free to choose up to now if they want to choose to attend online or face-to-face if they happen to be in Madrid or Segovia. So the proportion of people attending online and face-to-face varies a lot from program to program, and the average of undergrad and graduate are different. And that's not, it's not by chance. There are probably reasons underlying that. So this is yet to be explored and analyzed, and we are making sure that we are getting all the data together and starting to do all the magic to give that information, the insights to the people making the decisions. But these are quite interesting times coming ahead. Probably in future ISPs, in the 4th or 5th sessions, I will be glad to share with you our advances in that area.
I love to see your excitement when you talk about data and data-driven decisions and these emotions that, okay, we'll do it. We'll have facts and data that we'll be able to base our decisions on. Such a comfort, isn't it? Instead of taking out our crystal balls, now we have data. That's great. Yeah. We have a few more minutes, a couple more minutes for a couple more questions. I see 12 new messages. Wow, let's see how many we can do. If not all these questions, please feel free to go on to LinkedIn if we'll not be able to answer them, and ask them over there. And Carlos, I will ask you to have a look at these questions and also answer if possible afterwards.
I will.
So let's have a look at some more. Dina, did you encounter any barriers of the adoption of TR? I guess of the adoption of the technology. So did you encounter any barriers to the adoption of it?
I mean, a number of them. But this is I mean, business as usual. So technology is just the starting point. Every new information system solution that you deploy is a question of combining the different components. So technology is one of the ingredients, but you have people, you have processes, you have the structure, and reaching the magic proportion of the combination is what actually makes a success. And this is not something that happens, right from the beginning. I think all of you know that deploying new technology is always full of barriers. I would say that for our students, I would say for them, this has been quite straightforward. So for them, the main problems have become more because of the pandemic situation, this situation in which probably they cannot socialize with their peers as they used to do. Their campus experience is different. From that perspective, I think probably they have been suffering a lot. But from the technology standpoint, from them, this is not a problem. It's more for staff and for faculty who have proved to have needed to be more agile and open in attitude to adopt the number of changes that have been coming one after the other, because it has not been an easy path. We've been, every other week we had significant changes in the setup on how to teach, how to support students. So it's been quite a challenge for the full IE community.
Yeah, I remember at the very beginning of the outbreak that we were changing from one platform to another. We moved from Adobe to Zoom to another version of Adobe, and all these changes, and then introducing Teams in the meantime. And I had a pleasure to support the Learning Innovation team as a group of 70 volunteers supporting online classes because at that moment that was needed. And it was amazing how everybody was responding to it. As you were saying, Carlos, that staff and students and other professors, that they were really agile, they were really helpful and really positive about all the changes. And I think in a normal situation they wouldn't be that positive, but in this specific situation everybody was really motivated to do it right, to support each other. And I think that was one of the best things. The last question, what about the information protection policy? Security.
Well, if we are talking about data privacy, that still holds, and it's been the classical constant fight between technology and legislation, so to say. In fact, that took the most, and that might be interested for Italo's question before. The most critical part in deploying this health passport, the COVID tracer app, was making sure that it was not violating GDPR regulation. So this is still holding. This is something that, at least in the European Union, it's something that we need to take into account. I think it's in some cases, there is a big debate, to what extent we should, place privacy with the health of society. So, so probably this is going to open a big debate, I hope, because I think we need to think that over at least a little bit to make sure that in certain situations we put things, in context. But, GDPR has been observed from the very beginning as always, so we have been fully compliant.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Carlos. It was really, really interesting. And I don't know if there are any more. Yeah, only some comments that it was great. So thank you so much, Carlos, for your presentation and all the insights. And I hope that you are staying with us a little bit longer for other presentations. And please go on. This is what I'm saying to all the participants. Please go on LinkedIn and keep asking your questions over there if you have any.